guys? Welcome to the Entitled Millennials, episode number 21. We're trying a little bit of a new setup today. I managed to figure out how to switch scenes between the two cameras. So here's me, here's Johnny. Setup's a little weird. We'll do some adjusting, but kind of cool that we were able to do this now, moving up in the world and shit, man. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, bang the bell, help us grow. I want to reach out and tell everybody who just helped us reach 300 subscribers. We're at 305 now. We really appreciate it. It's been a nice journey with you guys so far, and we're just steady trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber goal by June 15th would be our 1 year anniversary. So to support the podcast, you can become a patron of our Patreon at patreon.com/double_D. There you can access all of my written work, including poetry, flash fiction, and full-length short stories. Some of my short stories are now on audiobook. For those of you who are too much of a hurry to read, you can just have a listen. Help us reach our $200 Patreon goal. Once reached, I will be doing a solo podcast where I interact with our patrons. We'll discuss art, music, literature, and everything in between. All right, Johnny, let's jump into this thing. How you been, man? Been doing good?
Pretty good.
Yeah, we're gonna try to switch between this audio and video here. See. Pull that mic back a little bit there, Johnny, just because it's in your face there. So it'll be a little awkward, so bear with us. I'm going to have to get used to this, and hopefully eventually...
Yeah, it kind of weirds me out.
Yeah. Hopefully eventually we'll have somebody who can do this for us, and it'll be a little bit smoother. So anyway, Johnny, first thing I got on the list today is this whole thing with Hillary Clinton bashing Bernie on... She was interviewed for some new documentary.
Said he's a career politician, which is hilarious because I don't know what she is.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like they study, like, key things, like, in focus groups. They're like, say this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. So the quote that I got from it, Hillary Clinton said this: "He was in Congress for years. He had one senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He got nothing done. He was a career politician. It's all just baloney, and I feel so bad for the people that got sucked into it."
It's like she's describing herself in her 2016 campaign.
Dude, seriously, it's like hilarious to me that she would call anybody else a career politician, let alone Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like she actually believes her own bullshit.
Dude, that's the thing about her, man. She's like delusional, right? Like she thinks she's like... I mean, dude, Hillary Clinton is like the caricature of an establishment fucking Democrat career politician.
Well, and even MSNBC, they have Claire McCaskill, who's a former senator, right? She just lost in 2018 because she was trying to run as like a Republican in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, on Republican issues.
Now they bring her on to give advice on how to win. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, dude.
Even she had to admit that Bernie isn't what Hillary just described. And she's like major allies with Hillary Clinton.
Dude.
Like, it's pretty interesting to see even like the corporate stooges in the media who like were fawning all over Hillary now have to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
dude, for real, they can't even like they can't even justify it. And dude, it's funny to see over the last 6 months to a year, she's like come out and like said all these things, either bashing Bernie or some other candidate or bringing up some ridiculous shit. And every time the public at large just like puts her down, makes fun of her.
Every video about Hillary Clinton with her in it is severely disliked.
Dude, seriously.
Every video, pretty much every video, except the Fox News videos, bashing Bernie are severely disliked.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. And anyway, she went on to say it's not only him, it's the culture around him, it's his leadership team.
Dude, it's her.
I know.
It's fucked up.
It's his prominent supporters. It's his online Bernie bros and their relentless attacks on lots of his competitors, particularly the women.
Yeah, dude, we're not allowed to criticize other Democratic candidates. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is running attack ads against Bernie right now. For attack. It's weird, dude. The attack ads are about Bernie attacking Biden.
Yeah, I know.
But it's bullshit. And he's trying to say Bernie shared a doctored video of him wanting to cut Social Security.
Yeah.
There's like 10 different clips out there of Biden saying he wants to cut Social Security.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like, what the fuck? And he can't even handle lying very well. He's just terrible.
Dude, no. He's complete... Dude, he's complete garbage at all this stuff. Like, dude, and it doesn't help that he's obviously got, like, early onset dementia or Alzheimer's or something. Every time
he's
he
got
goes,
something with him,
dude, every time he goes on a news broadcast, it's just pure fucking shit. And I was going to talk about this later, but he had, let's see here. He had some reporter asked him, came up to him and was like, why do you attack Bernie?
A basic question. A CNN corporate hack was asking him it too. It's not like this was some fiery independent journalist. It was a fucking softball question.
Yeah, it was. And they came up, and the reporter come up to him and was like, why do you attack Bernie? Trying to ask something also, I think, about his Social Security, his history on voting for Social Security, etc.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden like tries to ignore it kind of at first, but then he like finally like snaps off. You can see it, and he turns around and he's like, why? And like starts saying all this stuff. I was gonna see if I could pull up the video, but I forgot to grab the microphone and stuff. But I mean, I thought maybe we could talk about, and anyone who listens to the show already is kind of probably on the Bernie train and knows Joe Biden's a piece of shit.
Or isn't on the Bernie train at all.
Yeah.
We got something.
Yeah, but I think, like, dude, what is it about Joe Biden? Like, I mean, he's obviously an establishment fucking career politician.
Like, dude, his record is, like, worse than Hillary Clinton's in ways.
Yeah.
It's pretty mind-boggling.
Like, what's some of the things he's voted on? Like, I know he's voted on, like, cutting Social Security.
He led the effort for the Iraq War on the Democratic Party side to criticize Democrats who wouldn't go for it.
Yeah.
He's behind a bunch of the trade deals, like, helped get them in.
Yeah. Was he a senator?
Yeah.
He was
I feel like he was one of the younger senators ever elected in our history or some shit.
Yeah, because I've seen like videos of him like when he's younger and this and that, and like you said, there's clips of him like advocating for like complete and total bullshit, shit that's like literally like Republican talking points, Republican fucking legislative points, and I just don't understand. Like, obviously he appeals to like the older boomer base. And they don't see any of this stuff on the internet because they're not like.
That's the thing, dude. The media did its job and wasn't like talking heads for people like Biden.
Literally,
you would have no support.
Yeah, I know.
Like.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about the time when he like attacked that one guy at like a city council or town hall meeting, where the guy asked a question about his son, and then he like freaked out on him, and he's like, hey, fat. Like,
he's talking about the guy's weight. I've had people argue with me that he didn't mean to call him fat. Dude, he was just talking about the guy's weight, or like talked about his weight right after.
Yeah.
Obviously the word fat was on his fucking mind, and he's not completely there.
Yeah.
And it may not even be dementia or something, but he did have like 2 brain aneurysms in like the 80s or 90s.
I didn't even know that.
I'm sure at this age, that's coming back to fuck his mental state a little bit.
Yeah. And dude, the other thing about Joe Biden is like, let's say he, God forbid, wins the nomination. Dude, Trump is going to absolutely destroy him. Like, there's going to be blood on the ground about this shit, man.
Yeah, and I have people tell me that they want Bernie to be the nominee because he's easy to beat. And it's like, okay. I've had Trump supporters tell me this. Yeah. I know I've had even Democratic, like, establishment voters tell me this.
Wait. So
they think Bernie is the one that's easily beat because the whole socialism shit. Meanwhile, we'll find a way to make Biden look like a socialist even.
Yeah.
And, dude, it's just gonna... I don't even want to see it, man. I kind of do want to see it.
So you're saying...
But I don't.
You're saying that these establishment Democrats are like, we can't have Bernie. They're not advocating. They're like... Because they don't...
They think Bernie's easily beaten.
Yeah.
But I think they're just making shit up, too, because they don't like Bernie.
Yeah.
They have some vendetta against him.
Yeah. And they repeat whatever they hear on MSNBC. I mean,
literally repeat it.
Yeah, you have.
Like, it's like people who watch Fox News religiously. They just repeat what they don't question anything, dude.
Yep, I know. And it's funny because when you dude, it's almost like programmed into them. Like when you are trying to have a discussion with people about policy or this or that, or you've done a lot of door knocking this season, and I'm sure you've seen it more than just about anybody. You knock on the door and then you're talking about issues, and then they'll like deflect in this weird way where you're like, oh, well, Bernie has a plan for that. Here's this and this. Here's the dollar amount. Here's how he plans on paying for it. It's like, clear cut, very simple, straightforward. And then they're like, well, Bernie is just really divisive, or Bernie bros, or they just like plug something that they've heard off the news, almost like there's a chord running directly from the CNN or MSNBC office, and it's plugged into the back of their heads, and then the guys in the fucking media office like hit a button and it's like and it like makes them say something, you know?
Yeah, I really just don't get it.
Yeah.
Because even in high school, I was like, wow, this... I started watching the news. For like 2 months, I was like, oh, I'm getting informed.
Yeah.
And then I just realized they're fucking full of shit.
Yeah.
My high school allegedly weed bottled mind, boggled mind, I should say.
Yeah.
Is able to realize that they're feeding us on their bullshit.
Yeah.
Yet I've met like intelligent people who have very good jobs, they're intelligent in that sector of life.
Mm-hmm.
Just believe the propaganda. I don't even know. I really can't fathom it fully.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all I can say is I don't know. Like when I think about it, 'cause it's like, what the fuck,
dude? It makes you hesitate for a moment and be like, and like one of the craziest things to me is that intellect doesn't necessarily translate, or intelligence, I guess, doesn't necessarily translate to intellect, like however you want to say it. Because like, think about this, man. You've got doctors that went to school for like 12 years or whatever. You could have historians, teachers, all professionals, directors, like people that are super intelligent, they're well learned, they read books, they went to college. So you know they're intelligent, they're smart, and they can go on and on and on about a subject or this or that. Yeah. But then when it comes to just putting the basic blocks of critical thinking and from point A to point B to point C all the way to somewhere, and I think I've said this on another podcast, but somewhere along the line, they like don't reach the end and they just stop here.
There's people who, even when it comes to like historical events, they only follow the official narrative. They won't look into it more.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I've talked to people who still think Vietnam was the bullshit they said it was, and we weren't lied into it. Like, facts. They won't like, I don't know, man. And you go and read the history books in schools right now about and how they teach about the Iraq War and Afghanistan War. It's pure fucking propaganda. Like,
yeah, what do they say about it? Like,
I've seen someone made a post on the internet once of what their like little brother or something was learning in school,
like a worksheet or something,
and it was pure just like patriot. Like, it did not address the real shit.
Yeah, like
well, dude, because if you did, man, Bush and Cheney and shit should be like tried for war crimes and shit. So they're never gonna even Obama's been complicit. I don't even want to say even. Like, Obama's been complicit in the same bullshit.
Yeah, he's done this.
I don't mean to, like, under...
Yeah, no. Dude, Obama's done the same exact thing as all the other presidents did. So is Biden
with us.
Exactly. Because they're all part of this big club. And, dude, yeah, I can just imagine going in... And, well, because here's the thing that was kind of weird. It's almost like they hadn't... Because when we were in middle school and high school, it's almost like they hadn't written the propaganda yet. Because this stuff was all sort of, like, still going on, and they hadn't codified it yet. So, like, what happened when you and I were in high school is they taught up until, like, if you were lucky, the 80s. Yeah. And then after that, either we didn't have time or whatever. And it's kind of ironic that it ends up that way because, I mean, there's been corruption throughout American history, but by the 80s is when you see this, like, Reagan and this system that runs the full operating show now take place. But, I can just imagine now that they've codified the propaganda and, like, how do we twist this and manipulate this and wave a flag in the background and then teach it to our young people so that they come up thinking that. And you can just imagine, like, a worksheet for a 12-year-old kid in 7th grade about the Iraq War. Yeah. And it's like, why did we go into Iraq? Because there was weapons of mass destruction, and it was... Dude, I could even see them outright lying and, like, somehow actually connecting it to Osama bin Laden even now. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, like, our generation is just going to be a weird generation because we were still around when the internet wasn't really around. Mm-hmm. And then we saw the buildup of it, and I just think we're going to be a weird generation compared to those older than us and those younger than us. Like, we're kind of just this weird...
Yeah, man, it's wild because it's almost kind of like our generation. Our generation is like this middle generation.
Yeah.
Because the generation before us, I guess, Generation X.
Yeah, I don't know the names.
Whatever. I think it's Gen Xers, right? Generation X. They were like before the technological boom. Where there's only so many channels on cable and there's only so many talk shows and like everything was streamlined, like perfect, And then our generation comes around, and we grow up during the advent of the internet. Before, and obviously in the Wild West days of the internet, to the point where they couldn't put a rope on all the information, and then we start getting like released documents, other perspectives, either like other national perspectives or other group perspectives. We kind of start to learn like the socialists and communists like aren't like, as much as they may have done bad, dude, it's a fucking two-way street with like another story.
Meanwhile, now with YouTube, you can type in the fucking exact title of the video and it still doesn't come up at first. You have to either scroll way down or go to the second page.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say is now this generation that's younger, not even necessarily my daughter's age, who's 6, but like my sister, Grace, who's, I think she's 11 or 12, they're growing up now in this era, and even kids that are 18, they're growing up where they're coming to age. The internet's like increasingly more censored. So it's like in Gen X, we had this time period, you know, where everything was like straightforward. Like this is the story. This is the narrative. This is what we teach in school. It's true. Our generation, at the beginning of our adolescence, teenage years, we had that, and then we saw it melt away and disintegrate, and we kind of unplugged from the matrix. And then they were like, oh shit, we had a glitch in the matrix. Let's fix this and codify this and censor everything. And now you're going into this next generation where it's back to ground zero that it was before the internet. You know what I mean? So it makes me worried, but like at the same time, I don't feel like they'll ever fully be able to censor the internet. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you?
Oh man, they're already successfully doing it, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, China is like a really good example of how they can do it. Like they just have outright done it.
That's the thing that like they don't have full totalitarian power over us.
Yeah,
like
in our country.
Well, that's why China scares me if we ever go to war, because they can just tell their people what's going to happen and they fucking listen. Here, we don't really listen as well. You know what I mean? We kind of have that anti.
Yeah.
Which is good, I think, but
it definitely is.
It's not going to be good come wartime when they're all falling in line. We're like, well, we don't want to go to fucking war. Then you got some people who are like, we got to go to war.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have civil unrest here, and then boom.
Well,
that's what I think.
Yeah, and we've talked before about, well, that exact American characteristic. I mean, it's a characteristic that, dude, it's like baked into our DNA to be rebellious, to be. I mean, what kind of motherfuckers do you think got on one of those old ass ships made out of wood and cloth and sailed how many thousands of miles across the Atlantic to come to a goddamn wilderness where there's nothing and there's literally, and I don't mean to be racially fucking insensitive, but savages. Like, to you, back to those people back then, they were savages that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you already have that into the DNA, and then you have that build up into the Revolutionary War, and then, like, the frontier and all this shit. So, you know, and then even after that, immigrants, Irish, Polish, Jewish, all coming to, like, even in 1920 or 1930, if you were fucking nuts enough to leave your life behind, or you had so many problems back where you came from, to leave everything behind to come to America on a pot shot, a pipe dream, I mean, that's baked into our DNA. And so the point that I'm getting at is, even in a scenario where if we went head to head with China and, like, say they invade and this and that, I think obviously if it were to a conventional war and us supporting a conventional war, that would create a problem, could create civil unrest. But because of the American, like, fiber of rebellion and no, fuck you, if we were ever occupied, or even if our government was the occupying force and the mask came off and it was just outright, like, totalitarian, I don't think Americans will take it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel it even in myself. Like, dude, when somebody tells me to do something, if you ask me to do something, I'll do it all day. But you tell me to do something, dude, I'm like, I get instantly pissed off. And I don't really think that's a characteristic in a lot of the cultures around the world. I just think it's something that's, like, baked into us between our culture and media and everything as a young age.
I mean, I agree, but I do think that the rebellious nature of a lot of people in this country has also been used. Like, I know people who say they don't vote and they're, like, proud about it, and it is like they're, like, being rebellious by not voting. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that is also a double-edged sword of it, where people, oh yeah, dude, that's unfortunate. And, like, dude, if you could, these people that don't vote, and like you said, really to them it is like a rebellious statement. If you could say something to them to make them like wake up and do something different and realize that you have to vote, what would it be, man? Like, what do you say to these people to get them mobilized to vote?
I really don't know.
I think the thing that does give me some extra hope about Bernie is like all these polls and stuff that they have about him is probably all about based off of Democratic voters. Like, what about the independents that are
like young people don't typically vote? Like, I have a bunch of young people I know that I'm getting to go caucus, and I know they're not polled.
Yeah.
Like, I told this kid that I work with, like, he's literally the people we need to win.
Yeah.
Just to, like, motivate him.
Like, people our age?
Like, people our age who don't get polled, that aren't really registered as in a party.
Yeah, they just...
And if Bernie's already fucking tied here for first or leading, the fact that people aren't being polled, it's just good, in my opinion. The fact he's leading in these polls that typically only poll, like, known voters.
Yeah, and a lot of times they only...
pretty good.
And a lot of times they only poll like older people. Like, dude, that's the thing about, and I think we've discussed that before, but like some of these polls that they do are like literally based off of like landlines. Like, they called older people and then they'll show Biden with a 10% lead amongst those people, and it's like, meanwhile, that's not. And you pointed out one before. It's like, did you poll 18 to 35 year olds? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, isn't it like 70% of 18 to 35 year olds like support Bernie as a nominee or something like that?
It's a large amount.
Yeah, man.
In Michigan, it was a large percentage, especially. I just know that.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that. So
a crazy amount of people.
Yeah, so like one of the things that gives me some hope is we already see this lead just amongst Democratic voters.
Oh, and can I say this quick?
What's up?
Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
It's on my mind. Bernie is now leading with non-white voters nationally.
Damn.
Which is like, that's how Biden wins. So if Biden can't even get that.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, Bernie, if Bernie gets 49%, should win, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll screw him at the convention. I'm convinced of it. He has to get 51% of the delegates, or super delegates come into play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm just convinced they would screw him.
Because you have to have an actual majority in order for it to work.
I truly believe they would rather lose and be looked at as villains than win with Bernie.
Yeah. Yeah, because the thing is like the Democratic Party will, and the establishment people and the people who run it and the bosses that run it and all the special interests, they would much rather see 4 more years of Trump gutting everything that they want to gut anyway and strip away just more slowly.
Because they're going to go get paid all their nice, fancy jobs for fucking Bernie over. Like, that's going to be their reward.
Yeah.
They don't really give a fuck about the party or the future of the country, it seems like, because they just want to make their fucking money.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. No, they don't give a fuck in the least. Like, it's just another job for them. They'll do this and they'll fuck it all up on purpose, and then at the end of the day, they'll have that revolving door job at some corporation, ExxonMobil, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the ones who are smart. They also just have stupid people who don't even see a problem with what they're doing.
Yeah, sheep in the herd.
But they're not bad people in their heart.
Yeah.
They're just stupid.
Well, we know some.
I don't know.
Yeah, man. And
see it at the local level for sure, but it's definitely like that at the national level as well.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say is like we know individuals in our government locally and that we know personally that are like that. Like, dude, they are good people. I like them as people. They go into our state houses or our city councils or whatever with good hearts, good intentions, and when they're there, they really think they're doing good work, but they just don't understand the gravity of the situation, and they don't understand what really needs to be done to stem the tide of corporate domination in this country.
They don't have courage to stand up to the party apparatus.
No,
they fall in line.
No, they do what they're told.
They don't even consider that they could stand up.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. We kind of got off subject here a little bit, but. You know, talking about Hillary Clinton a little bit, it's kind of like her bashing on Bernie and stuff, and I just love kind of like the outcome that came from this, because we're seeing, hashtag I like, because she said nobody likes him, this and that, and now we're seeing hashtag I like Bernie.
Meanwhile, he's the most fucking liked senator in the fucking country. Maybe politician, definitely senator.
Yeah. I would guarantee that Bernie is easily the most liked and the most trusted politician in this country right now, because he has 30 years of history to back it up, man. And none of these other politicians do. There's a few other good ones, but none of them have as long a history as he does as doing things. He marched with MLK, man, for God's sakes. That was how long ago? Even as a young person, before he was fully involved in politics or being in the office, he was doing good shit.
In the photo of him chained to the African-American woman,
Yeah.
I saw it, like, colorized.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird seeing a photo get colorized because it, like, makes you realize what's going on a lot more. Like, something about black and white, it's like you tune out of it a little bit. You don't fully realize what's going on in a photo. At least I don't.
Yeah. Well, the black and white photos or black and white footage, it just doesn't feel like real life, or it feels like something literally from ancient history. Like, I think I showed you that trailer of They Shall Never Grow Old, that World War I documentary by Peter Jackson, who did The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you look at the footage from that, and you just realize, like, you know, the war was over 100 years ago now, just over 100 years ago. But you look at the way that they remastered that footage and colorized it, and you're like, dude, that was real. Like, that wasn't just something out of a storybook. These were real people, and they looked just like you, me and you. And they even put audio in it. That, I mean, there wasn't audio for it back then, but they like did voice acting and stuff for it to just add another layer. And you're like, holy fuck, these were young men like you or me fighting in one of the arguably worst wars in history, man.
When did World War I start again? 1913?
1914, with the assassination of Archduke Franz
Wasn't
Ferdinand.
Building up in 13, and I have the 1913.
Well, I mean, yeah. The thing is, World War I was building up for like decades prior to it kind of exploding, because it was a result of like decades of colonization in Africa and Asia and conflicting interest, and there was all these like little wars that happened amongst the powers in Europe, like overseas, and they started like joining up in teams, and right, like if they fuck with you, we got your back. And then there's this technological boom where they're making more and more and more weapons, and then it led to that, you know, Archduke Franz Ferdinand getting killed by essentially a terrorist, you know what I mean? Like, who didn't really have any official ties with anybody, and it just blew up this powder keg into a fucking...
Well, it's hilarious. I've seen people like, what's assassinating an Iranian general going to do? It's like, dude, that could cause a world war way more than the fucking shit that happened back then.
Yeah, I know, dude.
Jesus.
Dude, yeah, that shit, I think I saw that exact meme, and it fucking made me laugh.
I'm not even
like,
using it out of a meme, dude. I've literally heard people mock that killing an Iranian general could start a major war.
Oh, like people told you this in person?
Yes.
Or like over the internet and shit?
No, in person, dude.
No
Some
shit.
people I work with, yes.
Wow. Dude, yeah, people just don't get it, man. Like, that's what started World War
They
One.
think we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Well, and
In some ways we can, but it's not good. It's something to be proud of, really. I know I just don't...
No, it isn't, man. It's American exceptionalism, and that's been going on for at least 3 generations now. And you see it reflected in our generation in such a way that's just like, it's like mind-blowing. Like, they fully, like, this generation and the generation before, you know, Gen X and Millennials, like, we are so inundated because of the way that our foreign policy has been over the last 20 years. Like, we truly believe, and the examples show that this is true to a degree, that we can do whatever the fuck we want. We can invade Kuwait, we can invade fucking Iraq, Afghanistan, all this shit, and there's just no... What repercussions has there been on America from the world at large? Nothing, because everyone's like, oh fuck, the Romans are at it again, what are we gonna do, you know? Yeah, and you know, this actually is kind of a good segue into one of the other things I wanted to talk about. Is we've talked a lot about like imperialism and American conquest in this country, and like all this different shit that America, the United States, is not the city on the hill that we would like to believe that it is. It's an empire. It's got 900 military bases around the world. It overthrows governments, sets up coups, does all this shit to protect the corporate interests of America, essentially. There's a handful of people that own this bitch. And we've talked about some of these interventions and stuff, but we've never, you know, a lot of times we didn't get into like the nitty-gritty of some of this stuff. And I was reading this interesting historical article about the Filipino-American War, which I guess there was a Spanish-American War where we defeated the Spanish. I think that was in the 1890s. And then they kind of released a bunch of their colonies that they already had. And one of those colonies was the Philippines. And when we took control of the Philippines, we made it temporarily a protectorate and we were gonna like let them have elections and shit. I mean, really kind of the same sort of shit that happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, but this is like way, it's 100 years ago now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the exact history, and it'd be interesting to look into it, but it didn't go like that at all. We fucking fought a long and brutal fucking war there to make sure that they did what we wanted them to do. And there was this guy, let's see, Jacob the Monster Smith. And what happened with this guy is there was, the American military had essentially occupied the Philippines. And then in this region of Samar, I think it's a set of islands within the greater archipelago of Philippines. There was like an ambush or an uprising of like insurgents, and they tried to like push the Americans out, and there was really bloody. A bunch of Americans died, and Teddy Roosevelt like had this general in charge, and he's like, I want you to pacify the locals, which is one thing, right, or that was probably wrong. But Teddy Roosevelt had no idea what this guy would end up going in and doing. And he went in, and the quote is, kill everyone over 10. I want no persons. I want no prisoners, sorry. I wish you to kill and burn. The more you kill and burn, the better it will please me. I want all persons killed who are capable of bearing arms in actual hostilities against the United States. The interior of Samar must be made into a howling wilderness.
Jesus.
Yeah, man. Some fucked up shit. And granted, look, this is 100 years ago. This is back. This was back when we considered people from Asia, people from Africa as subhuman.
Yeah.
You could make the argument that the people running this country still think that way.
Oh, yeah.
But, and they killed thousands and thousands of people, men, women, children. It didn't matter.
And the people of the Philippines hate us. Like,
yeah.
Because they elected, what's his name? What the fuck is that guy's name?
Dude, I can't even remember at all. But he's like a real fucking hard ass, isn't he?
Yeah, but I kind of see why they would like him, because he stands up to us.
Yeah.
Like, he's not our, like, bitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see, just like, I don't know, like, people don't, the way people bash leaders of other countries, like even Putin, or they only view it from, like, our side, and they're bad guys. They don't ever view it from the side of the people of that country and why they might like Putin or Modi in India.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you're Hindu in India, you probably are going to like Modi because he's like a Hindu nationalist. They're majority Hindu. And yet people act like mind-boggled that people in India would
I can't believe they'd support these guys. And you actually kind of stumbled on to another aspect of that, where we are seeing in the last decade especially the rise of strong men, Machiavellian leaders in these countries. And what do you think the biggest correlation is? Like, which countries are electing these fucking extreme dictator hard asses?
Well, Trump's no dictator, but he is kind of a strong man.
Yeah.
So we're doing it. Fucking Russia has done it. I guess you could say they elected him. I don't really know. I don't think so. I think Putin's kind of a dictator.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just kind of pretty on paper and everything looks legal, but really...
I don't know. You got a lot of countries that are doing this.
Yeah. Well, and in one reason, okay, so this isn't the reason I was going to say, but one reason why you're seeing the rise of these strong men is because of like economic conditions and corporations pretty much just sucking the lifeblood out of countries. I mean, that's why you saw Hitler take powers. There's all these economic problems. And so that's one aspect of it. But another aspect of it is where these countries where a lot of these strong men are arising are countries that have been subjugated or bastardized or pushed around by the United States for a very long period of time. Mm-hmm. And they elect these people because they make a promise to stand up to the American people, and then they get the American government, and then they get reelected because they do. And they say, we're not going to take shit. We're going to do our own interests in the region, despite what comes of it.
Yeah.
So it's scary, man. And I remember this Anthony Bourdain quote where he kind of talked about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he said something about, I've traveled all around the world. I'm seeing the rise of strong men in every nation, and the world's heading towards a great calamity. This is not word for word, but he's like, so eat the pasta, eat the good food, have the drink, because you never know when this train's going to stop. pretty much. And it's kind of disturbing to hear that from him, from a man who's been to pretty much every fucking country on earth, man. So, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's concerning times for sure.
It really is, and I wonder where things are going to go. I don't want to be pessimistic. I really do think if Bernie gets elected and we turn our shit around, America has such an influence where our biggest export is culture and perspective. And if America can turn its shit around, then maybe that'll inspire the other nations of the world to let their guard down a little bit. Can't guarantee it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to think about that, but it's hard to exactly foresee it. Because I fear even if Bernie gets it, and this is true pessimism, but they're just going to do things to try to screw his presidency up. Like our own CIA.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, look what I don't know if we've talked about this in other podcasts, I feel like we might have, but Jimmy Carter had a bunch of, plans domestically, and they screwed him with...
Essentially a Green New Deal in a way. Lesser extent than what's planned now, but...
Yeah, it's... I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, so I want to backtrack just a little bit, and I might have already mentioned this because we kind of just bounce around and go with the flow or whatever, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's comment, the Democratic Party is not left, ... it's center conservative.
And she said if in any other country, her and Biden wouldn't be in the same party.
Oh, yeah, I remember that quote from a while. That was a while. This was actually before.
That wasn't that long ago, though.
No, but it was before this comment, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any thoughts on that, man? Because I know,
it's true.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've talked about this many times. Dude, that's half of what we talk about on this podcast is, how the Democrats are full of shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to see somebody who's... I mean, dude... establishment and progressives like AOC to a degree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they know that the Bernie policies are the most popular, the Bernie progressive style policies. So they try to sound like they're for those policies.
Yeah.
That's why you hear all their bullshit lingo all the time. Because they know that that's what the people want, but they don't serve the people. They serve big money donors. I don't know.
Yeah, well, dude, that's literally why you see well, dude, that establishment Democrats trying to sound like progressives, that's the story of this fucking election cycle, dude.
Yeah.
That's why you have Mayor Pete talking about this and that. You even watch these videos of people are full of shit, saying shit like...
And anyone using their heads knows that the people full of shit are full of shit. It must suck to be someone like Pete or Biden, knowing that your base... are the people that aren't fully I don't mean to be a dick, but it's true. Their basic support are not from the most intelligent people in this country. That's fucking sure.
Yeah.
Unless you count the big money donors at the top actually funding them, I'd say they're pretty intelligent.
Yeah, they know what the fuck they're doing.
It's the normal people falling for their fucking 30-second ads that they shove down Iowans' throats every fucking day. How don't you know, dude? We know that the big money and shit is funding those ads usually. Bernie's unique.
Yeah.
Everyone else is, and people know it, but they don't give a fuck. They love hearing sweet nothings or whatever that saying is.
Oh, sweet nothings. I mean, pretty much, dude. That's a good analogy for what it is. The sweet nothings of the Democratic Party, man. But meanwhile, it's all just lies that the big stud of the Democratic Party is telling us sweet little girls to get in our fucking pants and steal more of our money and fuck us in the ass, man. That's literally all it is. But people fall for it because, dude, people don't. They do want shit to change because they're feeling the hurt of an economy that's been slowly more and more rigged against them. But they just want to feel okay. They just want to turn on the news for a minute and then in the morning and be like, oh, we're making some changes. That's great.
And I see why you fell for Obama, right? I see why you fall for someone like Obama.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
Especially when it's Clinton, he's up against her. It was John Edwards was the third guy that people were considering. And then he had his cheated on his dying wife. Got the person pregnant. It was all bad.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah, I didn't even... John Edwards was probably going to be Obama's VP pick before all that happened, so he screwed himself there.
That's unfortunate, man. Just
imagine me his dying wife. Yeah, it's fucked up. And then he used campaign funds to pay off the person he had a kid with. Big scandal.
Damn, man.
Anyways, I listen to old Obama stuff, and I do see why people fell for it. Although, knowing how he is... I just see a liar now, when you go look at his shit.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because he is. And, dude, I even remember... I even remember being a young guy. I was always interested in politics, like from a very early age, because I was interested in history, and they kind of go hand in hand. But I remember being excited about Obama because I was like just going into high school, and I'm like, wow, this is badass. He was saying all the things that I wanted to hear right when I was coming of age and starting to understand stuff a little more. And I mean, he was black, and I was like, wow, dude, shit's really changing. Dude, you remember the hype was fucking real with Obama? Do you remember that one? What was that one rap song? Do you remember that song we used to listen to? It was
No.
It was like the lyrics were, fuck, what was it? It was like, my money's green, my Lambo's blue, my president is black.
Oh yeah.
Remember that fucking song, dude?
Is that Gucci Mane?
It might have been Gucci Mane, but I just remember that we always used to listen to that song like cruising around and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, my president's black.
Yeah, it was definitely cool getting an African American elected, and it should have been an African American with FDR style policies. That's what we needed, and it could. And Obama acted like he was going to be that.
Yeah.
And you know, I've talked to people who are like really smart about this shit, like, and they're way farther left. They knew Obama was full of shit the whole time.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that a little bit.
If we were in our mindset now, we would have known Obama was full of shit. Another reason he won too is that he had great online ads. Like he was one of the first to really do the online.
Yeah, that's what got young people like you and me. I mean, at the time, because that was before I could vote.
Yeah, I was like 14 or 13 even.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I voted for him.
2012, I voted for him.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I remember it being a thing, and I was really excited. So I'm like, helping my country.
Which honestly, man, I kind of wish I would have just voted for Ron Paul. At least Ron Paul stands for something. And it would have been interesting to somehow see Ron Paul up against Obama. I still think Obama would have won, but...
Yeah, say what you want about Obama. He's a fucking charismatic guy, and it would have been pretty hard to beat him. Especially...
Ron Paul would have had real arguments about...
Well, yeah, but that don't mean shit in this country, dude. That's not what... We were just talking about. That's not what people want to hear, especially back then.
Mitt Romney, like, God, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I just don't know, man. Mitt Romney is like...
Oh, dude, I forgot about Mitt Romney, like, dude.
He's like... I don't know. It's like he wants to be Reagan, but you're not Ronald Reagan.
Dude, you know what? He even kind of looks like Ronald Reagan a little bit.
He's going for the Reagan look, dude.
Honestly, he looks like a more handsome Ronald Reagan.
I like how he just went to Utah, where he isn't even from. He was governor of Massachusetts, but now he's a senator of Utah, just because he got that Mormon in. Like, the Mormons were like, oh, we want you because you're the...
Wait, I thought he was Mormon.
He is. That's what I'm saying. That's why he was able to just go to Utah and become a senator, because he's like the big Mormon in politics. He was governor of Massachusetts, so that's where he's actually from.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but isn't there like... I thought there was like rules, like don't.
I'm sure he lives there now. I'm sure it was in the plans for years.
So yeah, he probably did live there for a while in order to. Because I was gonna say, isn't there like some constitutional clause we have to live in a state for a certain?
Yeah,
well,
sure.
And it's probably maybe different state by state.
Well, and people are giving Zenk Uyghur a bunch of shit, you know, because he's running for Congress.
Yeah.
And he's not from that district in California.
Oh.
But he like lives right by it. Like, and I don't know, man. I think when it comes to shit like that, you're going to do like national shit in Congress, really. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it matters if you're from a district over. You still know. I don't know.
Do you think that maybe congressional seats, I mean, obviously it's district by district, you're supposed to be from that district, but do you think like maybe it should be more of like how a city councilman at large situation is?
Well, yeah,
like as long as you're from the state, you can run? It's
another stupid thing with our town, I think, how they have like 2 at-large seats and the rest are in like precincts or whatever.
Yeah.
With a small town like Mason City, are you really going in there as a city councilman of this precinct and really focusing on that part? Something tells me no. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a good point, but
if that was true, the people over by Newman, their fucking city councilman would have listened to them by now and paved their goddamn streets.
Yeah.
I talked to so many people that want their streets paved. If their fucking precinct fucking councilman would listen to them, obviously that's not what is happening. Still have gravel fucking streets in this town. It's fucking...
Well, dude, I think maybe more... That has possibly more to do with people just don't vote in local elections, so then they just like...
anything, dude. We get such bad turnout.
I know.
Like, Weaver predicted it pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
just completely ridiculous, man.
Well, they made it more stupid because you used to be able to go to any of the polling stations in town and vote. It didn't matter. Now you got to go to where your precinct is, thus making it more difficult for people who already probably don't want to vote.
Well, dude,
annoying.
that comes down to what you're saying, and it really is like voter suppression to a degree. Like, why is it in a city of 30,000 you have to go to anywhere specific?
Yeah,
like,
it's stupid. You can get anywhere in this town in 10 minutes.
Who gives a fuck? Yeah, exactly. You can drive. You can fucking walk and get You can walk and get across town in like
you can get
maybe
to
an
fucking
hour.
Clear Lake in 10 minutes. Like, well, from here to Clear Lake probably like 20, but still, like,
yeah.
That's a normal drive in a big city to get anywhere you want to go.
Well, yeah.
If not longer.
And it's fucking America, so we're used to driving everywhere long distances. That's just kind of how shit goes. Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah, that's kind of the spread of the land of what's been going on. I mean, fucking this whole thing with Hillary Clinton talking shit. God, dude, I wish she would just go away. It like, dude, she is like a true egomaniac. She just like keeps coming in for more, and then we just like, it's like that SpongeBob meme where it's like the guy like going up, he's like, how many times we got to teach you this lesson, old man?
Meanwhile, Bernie did 30 something events for her. She only did like 8 for Obama in 2008.
Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Like,
well, dude, yeah, it's because like I said, she is an egomaniac, and I find it hilarious. And you probably have something to say about this. That, you know, back in 2016 when, you know, Bernie didn't win, everyone's like, you gotta support Hillary Clinton, unity. And then the same bitch that was like spearheading that whole concept comes around and like in that documentary says she won't commit to supporting Bernie if he is the nominee.
I'm sure that's not intentional too, you know? Well, and then we got the Obama thing. Bring it up on your phone if you have your phone, because I don't know exactly what he said.
Yeah, what was this?
Essentially, to paraphrase, he's like, he's growing concerned that Bernie might actually get the nomination.
Oh, yeah, you sent that to me.
Considering actually giving like a public speech.
Yeah, where is that?
Should be right there.
Oh, here's that. I want to read this quick. Here's that Cornell West quote, like a meme. Quote. We know brother Joe Biden is a decent brother in a lot of ways, but he's a backward-looking, die-in-the-wool neoliberal with limited vision and even less courage. Dude, that's
not the truest statement about Biden ever.
Dude, Cornell West is a fucking savage. I love that Joe Rogan interview with him, and like, dude, he really is a fucking intellectual.
Yeah, I forgot
and like,
he was on Rogan.
And dude, people like discredit him sometimes because he's this crazy looking African American guy. But dude, if you fucking sit down and listen to him, I don't want to say he's a genius, but he's in tune with shit, man.
I mean, dude, he's a professor at like Harvard or Stanford or Yale. I'd say he's probably a genius.
Yeah, dude, he's a smart ass guy, and I really love I love how he calls everybody brother and sister. Like in the way that he says it, he like really does mean it.
Well, that's what's crazy. I haven't noticed it getting a whole lot of attention. Rogan literally said he's going to vote for Bernie, not Tulsi. He's going to vote for Bernie in their primaries, essentially, is what he said.
Wait, who said this? I was trying to find that article. Joe Rogan said it?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know, man. That's just kind of crazy because Rogan tries to not get political because he's afraid of probably pissing off some of his fans. So yeah. I think it's pretty interesting that he actually like...
Johnny, did you send this to Here We Are? Because I'm like not finding it. What was it I was looking for? The thing about Obama coming out and like...
Yeah, if you can't find it, I essentially paraphrased it. Like,
yeah, because I can't seem to find it anywhere. But yeah, dude, that's something to kind of talk about for a second. Is Joe, dude, that whole thing with Joe Rogan? Like, what interview with that? That was with Jimmy Dore, right?
There's been a couple. The one where he said he's going to vote for Bernie is the one with Barry Weiss, who's... Dude, she's like intentionally a shill for shit. You got to just watch the interview. The first one is terrible. That's where she said Tulsi Gabbard is a toady for fucking...
For Russia? Syria? Oh, apologist.
She's just bullshit. And then, like, I'm pretty sure they asked her what a toady means, and she didn't even know what the fuck it meant. Dude, and she's a big-ass journalist for the New York Times or something.
Yeah, what does that even mean? Is that just like somebody that's backing somebody up or whatever?
It means like you're I don't know, essentially, I guess. It means that you're like loyal to them or something. I don't know. Yeah,
man. Yeah, I clicked on that interview because like I just kind of see, and then I did the drop down in the text box to like see who the person was, and I can't remember exactly what I read. Who is she exactly?
She's an opinion journalist where she has a fucking trash opinion on everything. Everything.
Yeah.
And she I don't know. Her main thing is anti-Semitism.
That's right. Oh, that's what
she like gives like Israel Mossad like talking points, dude.
Really?
And I don't know how someone like that, who's so hated by people and just gives trash opinions, becomes like this big columnist for the New York Times. It just shows they want to push a certain narrative. And she seems like she actually believes it when you first kind of watch, but I feel like she knows she's pushing propaganda because she seems informed about certain things. So she has to know she's pushing bullshit.
Oh, dude, I guarantee it, man. You give somebody a fat check who's, and I'm sure she is somewhat of an intellectual and knows stuff, like you said, it sounds like she's informed, but you give somebody a fat check, that's what these corporations, these media corporations do, is, hey, say this, spin your knowledge in this way and twist the truth, and we'll give you a fucking $10 million check.
A lot of it I've heard, it's not even like blatantly made clear that you have to do that. You just know if you want to keep that job and rise up in the ranks of the New York Times or whatever, you're going to toe a line.
Yeah, you're going to say what you're supposed to say, sort of thing, right? But I think it was, dude, this Joe, maybe it's not a big deal really when it comes down to like the true political implications of it. But it really, on the interview with Jimmy Dore, when he said, I like Tulsi and I like Bernie and everyone else can suck dicks or whatever.
And he actually clarified he likes Andrew Yang as well.
Yeah, well, true. And
he felt bad. He clarified that in the Barry Weiss one.
Yeah, because as much as I don't necessarily agree with Yang on some stuff, I don't want him to suck dicks. He seems like a nice enough dude. You know what I mean?
Dude, I like some of what Yang says, but the thing is, he's actually very good at spinning shit into more of like a libertarian way, but he still sounds like a progressive. Like he's like, I'm for the spirit of single payer,
right. Yeah.
But it's not like a spin like a Clinton spin or a Biden spin where you're like, oh, fuck you. With Yang, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe he actually disagrees. It doesn't rub you
the wrong way until you fully think about it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get from him, is that maybe he actually legitimately does disagree with stuff, and not that he's like being told to disagree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's really smart. I don't know. He could be right about some things, but we got to be doing something. Shit.
I definitely agree with his stance on UBI, man. Totally.
Well, in automation, he's like, I've heard of him referred to as like a Paul Revere about automation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's an accurate assessment, to be honest. Yeah.
And this is probably like a fantasy. I don't even know how you would go about this, but I've seen like people floating, like make a new cabinet position, Secretary of Technology, and make him it. I have no idea how you would go about doing that. I think, can you just make cabinet positions when you're president? I'm assuming.
Dude, if you're the president, I imagine, yeah.
That would be cool.
Why wouldn't
to
you?
Finally have some... Dude, we're not thinking about that shit at all, dude.
I know. Dude, automation's a real thing, and it's coming.
Martin Luther King was warning us about that, dude.
About?
Automation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you remember a quote at all? Or?
No, but there's a whole video by that Matt Orfella who made that Rising Up video,
Yeah, I know.
He did a video on it.
Did he?
It's really good.
Did he? But yeah, getting off subject here again, but I just want to kind of wrap this up with the Joe Rogan thing, because we're about to hit an hour here, and I am sick of flipping these cameras back and forth. We'll definitely have to get somebody to help us out with this. But like, other than the political stuff and like whatever, just Joe Rogan saying this, it felt like, because dude, the Joe Rogan community, like, just despite the fact that he has like so many of these interesting people on and intellectuals, and time again, Joe like comes out and says progressive things. He's for a Green New Deal. He's for universal health care. He's for tuition-free college. Yada yada yada. Somehow, like, I always see like right wing, like they fucking fed right wingers and they fetishize him. But meanwhile, if you actually listen to what, it's just so weird to me that these people are like part of his community.
On, like, guns, which so am I, really. Like, I don't think we need to be like, yeah, maybe we do need to. I don't know, man. I understand some regulation about shit, but just the concept of taking away guns or something, like some people float around, it just doesn't sound good.
No.
I don't know. It just doesn't sound like something we should do.
No, it's a dangerous precedent, and that's why, as much as I would like to see gun violence done away with, there's every time you look at history, the government comes and takes the guns away, bad shit happens, brother. You can't deny that fact. So
it is weird though how people are like the gun ho pro Second Amendment are also like hardcore pro cop. You know what I mean? Like they're pro the authority figures that are gonna put their fucking boots on your fucking head.
Yeah.
That you're saying you need the guns to like have a revolution against. Yeah, it's fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah.
It pisses me off, dude.
Dude, I know. These people, it goes back to what we first started talking about at the beginning of the podcast. These people, like, They can be smart. They can do this, whatever. And with these people, it's an extreme example. But you got your blocks, your ABC through Z blocks, like a little kid would have.
Yeah.
And they get like A, B, C, and they get to like F, and then they just like don't know what letter's fucking next, and like so they end up just coming to the wrong conclusions and shit, man. Yeah, it just made me really happy to see Joe Rogan like come out and like say that. Like that was a big deal, even though he did it in such a way that was like so like quiet.
Oh yeah, he wanted it to be more quiet than like an official big ass endorsement.
But it ended up being
huge. I just want to see him
huge.
at a Bernie rally, like introduce him in California, dude. I really want to fucking see it.
Dude, that would be so good.
And I'm sure there's people out there who are like, we don't want Rogan's endorsement. That's negative on Bernie. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Suck a dick.
Dude, he's not right wing, dude. Damn.
He's not.
Sorry, he's a free fucking thinker and doesn't. Dude, there's people who don't like free thinkers. You got to be part of everything, or you're not. Like, if you go against one thing that they label as progressive, you're no longer any. You're fucking just as bad as a right winger. It's fucking crazy, dude.
I know, man. It's disgusting. But we're about to hit an hour here, and I had to pee like a racehorse. So I'm going to go ahead and wind this.
I have a cold or something.
I'm going to go ahead and wind this down a little bit early today, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Help us grow. To support the podcast, subscribe to the Patreon at patreon.com/double_D. There you can access all of my written work, including poetry, flash fiction, and full-length short stories. All for less than what you spend on a cup of coffee or lunch every day. Show your loyalty, help us grow, help make our dream a reality. To further support the podcast, check out our sponsor, Bingley's Teas at janeaustinteas.com. There you can find high-end teas hand-picked and mixed by the lovely Miss Julia. Or visit Julia in person at 118 East 26th Street, suite number 208, to satisfy that deep tea addiction and to be taken on a tea tour of the world. All right, guys. It's been nice hanging out with you. We'll see you again next time. Like I said, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. This has been episode number 21 of the Entitled Millennials podcast. Appreciate all the support on the rebrand and stuff, and we're going to be bringing you a lot more content, so stay tuned, all right? Take it easy, guys. Bye.
Good day.
Taking the divine to spend a little time at my